Headbangers Australia, how we going? My name is Matthew, we're here at Unreil Studios, and today I have Mike from Painted in Chaos. How you going, mate?
How you doing?
I'm good, how are you going? This is, you're the guest, the special person of the day.
No, good day. Yeah. It's always nice to be the weekend.
Awesome,
You know?
2025 shaping up to be a good year.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we did a bit more music stuff last year than we have for a while. Bands didn't have much going on during COVID and stuff, but we've been working with some really interesting young bands this last year, and hopefully a few next year too.
Oh, perfect. That's really good. Because so your company, what's your company called?
M29 Creative is the name of the studio.
Yep, and obviously you do straight commercial work, but you're here on Headbangers Australia because obviously you work with heavy metal bands as well.
It's kind of the passion work.
Yep.
It's not necessarily what pays the bills because you know what it's like working in music. Dollars are thin on the ground these days, and so to be honest, it's where I can really let my hair down creatively, and so I love doing it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. So creatively, in I guess the metal world, what would be a quick summary of like the style that you bring to the table visually for bands?
I'm a photo collagist. I'm not a painter, I'm not an illustrator, but so mostly what I do is I bring together images and collage together they've asked for, or something that I think fits the brief if it's pretty open, and then there's paint over. I just add small details, things like that. So there'll be some painting, but all digital painting.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, nothing really hits canvas or anything. The closest thing to traditional is comping out on paper, perhaps just some ideas. But pretty much everything happens for me inside the computer.
So tablets, tablet pens, all that kind of stuff.
For some of the painting at the end, but most of it's all point and click.
Oh, there you go.
It's all just Photoshop, Illustrator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic tools.
Yes.
I like it. That's really good. So we were looking at some of the examples you brought in earlier, and you made mention of there's a lot of skulls in one of them, and obviously it's heavy metal. There's going to be some dark and ominous themes. So going right back, I guess, to when you first headed down the road of being a visual artist, what was the initial inspiration to do that passion side of it?
Oh, well, my design work first started up doing a terrible looking zine for a retailer that I worked in. I was working for Utopia Records between about 96 and 2001.
Nice, love Utopia.
Paul. But, the guys I worked with there mostly still work there now.
Yep, yes.
And we decided to do this zine. The owner at the time, he's no longer the owner, but he was the original owner of the shop. Wanted to do a zine, do some reviews, help some kids find the right records, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And also we did a lot of signings to help us engage with the local promoters.
Yep.
To, bring a bit of that, which would bring kids to the store.
Perfect.
And so initially, I knew nothing, and so it looked awful. But and mostly my initial work for bands was that they would sell some ad space in this mag.
Okay. And
so we were doing little ads for Cryogenic, for example, or Psychor.
Yep.
And we did a little quarter page or whatever, all in black and white. I look back and cringe, to be honest. The typography is terrible. It's
classic zine look.
Awful.
Yep.
Awful stuff. I do remember being on the World War III tour, which was Utopia was a presenting sponsor, and it was Alchemist, Psychor, and Cryogenic, which were three of the biggest metal bands in Australia at the time. This triple-header tour called World War III. And I remember being there, and we had some of the Utopia mags on the table, along with merch and things like that. It wasn't for sale; it was just for people to take. And I remember the guitarist from Alchemist, who's quite a good designer and was very much further along than I at the time, coming up, picked up the mag, and just went, "Low res JPEG, low res JPEG, low res JPEG." I said, "Mea culpa. Sorry, I know nothing." And but to be honest, that was where it started, and I could have the choice became do the retail management course that the boss wants me to do,
right,
or use my own money to do 9 months at night at the CGC computer graphics course.
Yep. Okay.
And after that, I landed a job pretty much straight away in a studio at a print company.
Oh, perfect.
And that was that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That was a definite fork in the road for you. So
Oh, absolutely,
I think, yeah.
absolutely. You know, there's a lot I could say about working in retail, but bottom line is it's not really for me.
Yep.
And Upwork wise, I mean, I've been very lucky to be able to have a career in that sense.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yep. And obviously, I guess taking on a course like that has allowed you to do the commercial work, which, like you said, pays your bills. But I'm sure many of us are happy that you've kept up the passion side of it as well.
Oh, most of my work is still in entertainment industry. A lot of it's video game publishers, film distributors, that kind of thing. There's stuff that's a little more dry, but being able to really be creative with a few less commercial constraints is it's really liberating, and I really love doing it. So it's the thing I want to still be doing in my retirement.
Nice, that's awesome. That's one good thing. A lot of people talk about retirement, superannuation in other fields, but I feel as artists, musicians, visual artists, quite a few of us are like, I don't think I'll ever stop. So
artwork for bands, if people are still mostly using designers at the time when I retire, you know, it may or may not be the case.
Yep.
But if people are still wanting people to do my kind of thing, because obviously my kind of artwork is the kind of thing that AI is starting to do a lot.
That's a valid point.
And
actually,
so you know, maybe there might not be that much demand for me for my artwork when I come to retire. But to be honest, I'd just love to be still involved. You know, even if it's just you know, logo designs. I love doing logo designs for bands.
Yep.
Again, that's really it's often a real creative free for all.
Yes.
You know,
yep.
so
That's an important one.
So those projects are always enjoyable.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, fantastic.
Always enjoyable.
That's great. So, obviously the progression from that 9 months you said course to now has been, you know, fairly long one, I guess. And in all of that time, like, was there any dark moments where you were like, I'm done, I've had enough, can't work with bands anymore, I can't work with, you know, marketing teams anymore, I'm going to go and grow potatoes out west or something?
Well, for most of the time I've been working for myself since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, working in other people's studios, sure, I've walked out a few times, sure. But to be honest, I don't think I can really do anything else.
Yeah, okay.
And be happy doing it. The frustrations that you get with deadlines, timelines, I don't really encounter creative differences very much.
Okay.
Because to be honest, it's only I could count on one hand the amount of times where I've gotten to a point with a band where I've had a what do you call it, a difference of opinion on the creative. Yep. You know, because I believe the design for commercial purposes, which for an album, even though it's art, is still for commercial purpose. I'm still trying to sell someone's album.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
The band is the artist.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm providing a service, and we're wrapping something around their art in order to sell it to someone who wants to listen to it.
Yep.
So it's still commercial artwork. In essence, you know.
Yeah.
We get to be a little more arty about it, but it's got a purpose, you know.
Yeah. Cool.
But and so I believe that's a collaborative process with the client every time, because no one knows their product like they do. So I might have a lot of input on what I think works, what I think speaks to their audience.
Right. Yep.
But the in the end, no one knows their audience better than them.
Than the band themselves.
You know, and so generally I have pretty open ears with that kind of thing. But sometimes the band just wants me to take the ball and run with it. And sometimes they've got something really prescriptive, something that's really clear. And as long as that's clear from the outset, and that there's, you don't go too far down one road, and in the end they want you to go somewhere else.
Yep.
As long as the communication's really clear, it's not a very frustrating workplace.
Yeah, okay. That's fantastic.
You know?
Yeah. That sounds like you've built a very healthy relationship with what you have to do, as you said, pay the bills, or at least in the case of music, to make sure you're servicing your client properly and balancing your artistic expression. So I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge most people face.
Well, if someone wants to do this kind of work, you do have to understand that in the end, you know, if you want to be an artist, that's great, and if you want your art to be standalone as artwork, that's fine. But that's got to be the final product. You know, if you want to be a painter, if you want to design T-shirts and sell T-shirts with your art on it, all that kind of thing. You know, that's your art. But as a designer, and for things like album covers and that sort of thing, you know, essentially it's a design.
Yeah.
You're creating some art and then you're applying it to another product.
Yeah.
You know, someone else's work. So that always it's a commercial transaction.
Yep.
And you know, someone in the end is the customer.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And so as long as they know what they want.
Yep.
That in the end is what they're paying me to give them.
Nice, I like that. Yeah, at the end of the day, yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So do you have socials? Where can people go to see some of this holistic artwork?
Pretty thin on the socials, to be honest.
No, it's
you know,
2025.
oh well, you know, to be honest, we don't do any marketing.
Yeah,
you know? All our work is by referral.
Yep.
In all aspects of the studio's business.
Yep.
So I do come across clients of the younger age group who are amazed at how little digital footprint we have as a creative business.
Yep.
But to be honest, I mean, we had a website in the early days, but no one really went to it. Our website is a redirect to the Facebook page from M29.
Yep.
So if you search M29 Creative on Facebook, you will find us.
Perfect.
And there's galleries of t-shirts, album covers, that kind of thing, along with a lot of our other types of work. But to be honest, what we display on the social channels that we do have, a lot of it is the more creative stuff. So it is the band stuff that we sort of hero in that on those platforms, because to be honest, that's the stuff that looks really cool.
that's exactly right. Like I said, that's the
that is what my job really boils down to is can you make this thing look cool?
Yeah, cool. I like it. Nice. All right. Well, we're going to have a look at some of the artwork that you've made for bands in some future videos. But that was just a nice little introduction to yourself, your work, your business. I love the ethos, so that's fantastic that you talk about that. So,
great to be here, man. I'd love to talk to you more about what we've done.
Sounds good. All right. Well, look forward to us next time with Mike on the couch. We'll be here for a few more videos. It's been Headbangers Australia. I'm Matthew. Stand behind the camera. That's Mike, our guest. See you next time.